Hey, so we're recording. Sorry about that, guys that are on the call. You missed some stuff. You should have been here live, right? Right? So I think there's some opportunity that we have in our market right now that we have never really had before, right? And that opportunity is that everybody is home and they don't have nothing to do. You guys agree with me? Yes or no? Everybody's sitting home. They have nothing to do. We've all seen everything on Netflix. We've watched The Tiger King twice, and we've all watched Ozarks. Everybody has. Everybody knows what's going to happen. And I mean, what else is there, right? So we're at a time right now that we've never been in before where people are actually hoping a telemarketer calls so they have something to do. I mean, that sounds crazy, but people are hoping that somebody calls them. They got plenty of time. They don't have a lot to do. And, that's all they got, especially in some of these states that everybody's quarantined and things are kind of crazy. So Daryl Self's got 2 listings coming this week. The natives are getting restless, including the native Texans, Chad. So there was a little protesting in the streets there in California. I believe it, man. I've been watching it on the news. But guys, one of the things is if you're subscribed to RedX, this is something that you should know. If you're not subscribed to RedX, you should go to, let's see, I'm going to put this here in this box. If you use the link that they've set up for our group, which is jasonmorrisredx.com, it waives $149 setup fee, so you won't have any setups. But here's one of the things that that is really interesting right now. A lot of the pickup rate, I was talking with the guys over at RedX about Storm Dialer because that's their dialer and they track calls. They can track calls across the whole company and everybody that's using it for real estate purposes, right? And we were talking about how the pickup rate is going through the roof, right? And if you don't believe me about them, a lot of you guys probably follow James Festini. He's on Facebook. James is a really good friend of mine. You can even see it with James just cold calling, where normally he's got like a 6% pickup rate, maybe. Now he's got like a 12. I've heard in some markets, agents are having like a 25% pickup rate, which is insane. So guys, what I encourage you to do, if you're sitting there, you don't know what to do, and you're not sure where your business is going to go, what you need to do is subscribe to RedX, okay? Tell them you want the expireds, right? Tell them that you want the expired plan, and then tell them you want 2 years worth of expireds, right? So 2 years worth of expireds, we're just going to use this as an example here. You're going to get about 2,000 numbers. Some of you guys might get more, some of you guys might get less. If you don't have much money right now, I think the dialer is a necessity, but it's about $100 more, right? And the reason I think it's a necessity is because you don't procrastinate between calls. Okay, but if you don't have the dialer, you're gonna be able to make, if you're really focused, you're gonna be able to make about 40 calls an hour. With the dialer, you're gonna be able to make somewhere between 60 and 80 calls an hour, depending on how many people pick up. Now, generally, in surveys I've done in my group coaching and stuff, it takes about 1 out of 8 people answer, and you end up talking. Now, this was across the board, people calling everything. You end up talking to about 20 people before you set one appointment. So that's normal times, right? Right now we're in coronavirus times. So there's going to be a lot of people that still do want to sell their house. And the script for this, I didn't prepare the script for the PDF for you guys. I probably should have. But the script for this is really simple. You're just calling them up, and it's so simple, guys. You guys can probably write it down right now if you got a pen and paper, or God, you can probably just remember it. The script is, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, Jason Morris here with eXp Realty. Do you still want to sell your house? If they tell you no, hang up, go to the next one. If they tell you yes, say, hey, fantastic. Then go down through our regular scripts, start asking them questions, right? Easy enough, right? Yes or no? There's nothing complicated about that. But I'm going to tell you, from what I've seen when I've done this in the past, when I went and taken massive action, typically if you get 2,000 numbers, you're going to get 1 to 2% want to do something in the next 30 days. Now, unfortunately, we have this whole crazy pandemic thing going on, right? But fortunately for us, a lot more people are answering the phone. So instead of getting 1 to 2% that want to do something and want to still sell their house, you might be in a situation where you're going to get 2 to 3%, right? Because if your pickup rate doubles, your results should just about double. But let's just go back to say 2%, right? Let's be conservative for this. I don't want so that would give you about 40 seller leads that want to do something in the next 30. They want to sell their house now, right? Even though there's a pandemic, they want to sell their house now. You can send out your pre-listing package, and then the plan is going to be to follow up with them until hopefully this thing ends, or hopefully they're comfortable enough and you're comfortable enough to go to their house, right? So if you do get 40 leads, and I think this is on the low end, and then typically when I'd call the people I didn't get in touch with the first time, I'd usually end up with about half. So half of what I got the first time. So you end up with about 20 more. So you end up with 60 seller leads. If you got 2,000 numbers, you're going to end up with about 60 seller leads right now. Okay. Let's say those leads, average commission. I mean, even in my market's a little lower than some of your guys. Average commission, $5,000. You have a lead list there with a total value of $300,000. What would it do for your life and your business if you guys came out of this pandemic where you're sitting there watching Tiger King every day, but you knew when the things start opening back up, you got $300,000 worth of leads that other agents probably don't have in your market because they were too busy doing nothing. How would that change your life? What would that do for you? If you don't mind, just tell me. I'd like for somebody to tell me in the chat. What would that do for you if you ended the pandemic here in 2-3 weeks? Hopefully that's when it's going to be over. I'm optimistic, but you end it in 2 to 3 weeks or 30 days where you've got 60 seller leads. You've talked to 3 or 4 times probably by then that have a value of $5,000 a piece for you, right? That would be, I mean, I'm just imagining. I mean, Gary said he can retire in 9 months. Yes. Daryl said, pay my daughter's college tuition in full. Michael Perone just put dollar signs, man. I like that too. Michael Perone put, I love the storm dollars, fast and easy to use. I do too. You literally just plug it in and go, right? Jamal asked, what would be a simple script for sale owners? You know what? If you're calling for sale owners, use the same one, man. You don't really need a real different script to start out with. And if you're in my group coaching, I got a script book with 35 scripts right there that you guys can access this in PDF form. But you don't need a real elaborate script, right? What we're doing with these old leads, the Red X leads, and even if you got a lot of old for sale owner leads, is we're just calling them up and asking them if they still want to sell, right? What we're doing here is we're sorting through. That's our job. A lot of agents get hung up. They say, oh, we got 2,000 leads and only 40 wanted to do something, right? To be honest with you, oh my God, you got 40 that want to do something? You got 40 sellers that want to do something? That's amazing. That's a lot of money, right? That's a lot of money. A lot of agents worry about the other 1,960 that didn't answer their phone or didn't call them back or whatever crazy reason there is. But our job is to be a sorter. We're going to sort through. This is the top level of our funnel. We're going to sort through, and we're going to look for the people that want to do something with us today. They'd like to work with us today. They want what we're selling, right? They like us, whatever it is. We can send our pre-listing package over to them, right? Then the key is going to be follow-up. Chris asked if these were, Danica said she's going to roll around naked in her money on Facebook Live for sure if she made $300,000. Chris said, are these cold calls? Well, Chris, I've got a different opinion about these. I don't think these are cold calls, right? And the reason I say that I don't think these are cold calls is because we already know they at least wanted to sell their house fairly recently in the last year to 2 years versus just calling an entire neighborhood. You know, I get asked lots of times if I just had to pick one, would I pick Red X Geo leads or would I pick expires, right? And what I always tell people is, you know what, Geo leads has a great purpose, right? This call isn't about Geo leads. If you guys want me to put in the chat, I can set up a Geo leads call for us because I think that's a great product and I think there is a lot of great purposes for us. But if I had to just pick one, let's say I was on a budget and I just had to pick one, I'd pick expireds all day long because we already know they wanted to sell. Right, guys? I'll be honest with you. A lot of people, they approach my group coaching or they ask me questions about my group coaching and they say, "Hey, well, I don't want to cold call." Well, that's fantastic because I don't cold call. I call people. I train agents on calling people that we reasonably think want to sell their house. So guys, we're going to go down through. What do you guys think about that? You guys want me to keep going, or we're only 15 minutes in. You guys want me to keep going, or you want me to just stop right there and that's enough for you guys tonight? So keep going. Thanks, man. So I tell you what, I got I'm going to stop this share right here. We're going to look down through. I wrote a book, guys. And I don't know if you guys heard about it. Sold a few copies on Amazon. It's available on Amazon if anybody's interested in getting a copy. It's available there. It's called How to Be an Objection Master. The reason I wrote this book was because, of course, I don't think a lot of agents understand how, effective plan to overcome an objection, right? And I don't think that that's possible. And Jerry, I'm gonna get to that question here in just a minute. But I don't think a lot of agents have an effective strategy, to overcome some objections and to overcome some of the things that we, have to overcome as agents. And sometimes they just don't know what to do, right? So that's why I wrote this book. I thought it was a great idea. It was a long time in the making. I kept crowd surfing my group coaching people and real estate agents that really work, asking about objections. What objections are you getting? And I took every single one and put them in this book. So we're going to go down through a couple of them, and I'm going to share a couple of things with you guys tonight that I think is going to really help you guys through this, and I think are going to be some great tools. Okay, so we got a lot of stuff here, but we're just going to go to the ones that are important. So number 20. Okay. Well, page number 20. Let's see. So what is an objection? So typically an objection is, now this is what I believe. You guys can read the dictionary, Oxford Dictionary version there. I mean, we all have our different beliefs, but I believe an objection is really just an excuse not to do something now. The case of this book, this real estate property seller telling you their go-to line that's often just something that gets you off the phone, right? The sales objection is a direct response to the evolution is a direct response in the evolution to our ancestors' physiological reaction to fight or flight that occurs in the presence of something terrifying, either mentally or physically. Right? So it's basically, guys, a lot of people look at us as salespeople, right? And sometimes salespeople are scary because you actually want what they're selling. You want the service they're selling, right? I don't believe we sell houses. I believe we sell a service that sells houses. And when you wrap your head around that and start developing that mindset, it's going to change the way you're doing business some, right? A lot of agents think that they got to have all these different plans. They list a house and they got to have a special, contoured, developed, focus grouped marketing plan for that house. But they don't. Really, honestly, as real estate agents, we should have a plan that is financially sustainable that actually works and sells houses, right? That's what your pre-listing package is. That's what I train a lot of agents to do and develop and stuff, So we have to break through sometimes, right? In modern society, we're not experiencing this reaction due to attacking wild animals. It's in response to the common sales call. It's a smokescreen. An objection is nothing more. For most agents, it's a minor tactic that defeats them and somehow gets them to give up on their goals, right? I hear agents say it all the time. They go, "But Jason, they told me bring a buyer and they'll pay me 3%. Guys, you know what? That's a fantastic objection. That's the best objection you can get because they're telling you, "Hey, I understand the service that you provide and I feel like I probably need it, so I'm going to offer you money. No, it's not the amount of money you wanted, but I am offering you money and I feel like I need your service." Once they tell you that, man, you should be setting the appointment as soon as possible. And the reason being is because at that point, you're just negotiating your commission, right? They already understand they need your service. So my real estate beliefs, I like to put that in books because, sometimes I believe different stuff, Sometimes I believe the real estate business is a lot simpler than what we make it. You can make a lot of money just being an individual agent out there taking listings and building a business that works for you, right? So, we've all got objections. Let's skip through that. We're going to skip down through this real quick here. So why do sellers use objections? They use them because they want to get us off the phone. Pretty simple, pretty simple. So, but this is really what I want to talk about here. Is it really an objection or is it a commission? Have you guys heard this? You guys that have been following me for a little while know all about objections and conditions and all this fun stuff. But Andy said they have us over because they think we're professional. But then we open our mouths and they question like a Dr. Whitecoat. But if he talks and stupid, then you say no. If our presentation is good, there should be none. You know what, man? I agree 100%. Whereas some of us, when I was a brand new agent, I used to show up at people's houses. I'd show up at people's houses, and literally when I got my foot in the door, I'd try not to leave until I guess I thought I was going to wear them down. Right? I'd try to be their friend. We'd talk about whatever they wanted to talk about. I'd sit there all afternoon. We'd talk about baseball and football and the Carolina Gamecocks and whatever it was. I would leave there thinking, wow, they asked me to stay for dinner. They must love me, right? They're going to list their house with me. No, they asked me to stay for dinner because they were hungry and they didn't think I was going to leave. And oftentimes when that happened, I didn't get the listing, right? Not until I figured out that it's a lot like visiting the doctor. I know that a lot of people don't like to hear this, but guys, the only reason they're letting us in their house is because they think we can sell their house. And truthfully, the only reason we should be there is because our job is to sell houses. That's it. If you're there, if you're going on listing appointments to make friends, then I got news for you. You might need to rethink what your business is. I'm not telling you don't be friends with your clients, because I've made some great friends that I've sold houses for and to, right? But that's not the purpose in your visit. If you do become friends with them later, great. If you don't, hey, that's great too. I've sold a lot of houses for people that I will probably never talk to again. Andy said a 45-minute presentation. If you need a friend, get a dog. Exactly, man. Exactly. You know what? When things really turned, the big aha moment for me was when I realized that, and I started timing my listing presentations to 30 minutes. 30 minutes. If we wasn't signing paperwork and it didn't look like we were going to sign paperwork, I was gone. So is it really an objection or a condition? Okay, it's easy to get these things confused. Sometimes you might not be getting an objection you think you are. Sometimes you're actually getting a condition. A lot of agents out there somebody tells them that, hey, I can't meet you at 2:00. And they go, oh, well, they couldn't meet me. They didn't want to meet me. Sometimes, man, the reason they can't meet you at 2:00 is because maybe they were at work, or they were going to be at work. Maybe they had a doctor's appointment. Maybe they had something that just wasn't, that you just don't even know about, right? Sometimes the situation they're telling you that you're giving up is because of a condition that's real. I had a lady one time, I'll tell you this, man, I struggled with this one. This lady, I knew I could sell her house, and I knew we'd sell it quick. It was in a great area. The price she wanted for it, man, I could get her net $10,000 more than what she wanted. It was one of those odd ones, she was underpricing it. However, guys, get this. The lady would set an appointment and cancel with me. She'd tell me how much she wanted to sell her house and all this stuff. Then she would cancel with me, right? And I just kept following up because guys, get this. My mindset is that I believe that I am your best option to sell your house, right? That's truly my mindset. And all of us should think we are the best option for our sellers and our clients, right? That we are going to do the best we can. And if we don't know something, we can go ask, right? So My opinion about myself is that I am the best option for your clients or my clients. And I felt like, hey, I was the best option for her. I truly felt like that. So I feel like when you have knowledge or when you feel like you're going to be the best person for somebody or something, that you should keep following up, right? By not following up and sharing that information with them, honestly, you're kind of being selfish. And I think some of the stuff we're going to talk about here in just a little bit, I think you not sharing this stuff with sellers, I think it's possibly selfish, right? I've had agents that tell me, "Hey, Jason, I don't really like what you're talking about because with this whole thing, we shouldn't be calling people. It's taking advantage of them." No, it's not. It's sharing information with them. And for me not to share information that might improve their lives or better their situation is selfish, right? Do you guys agree with me or disagree with me? Facebook, you're being kind of quiet there. Do you agree with me or disagree with me on that? If you have information or something that can help somebody else that you can easily provide to them and you don't do it, it's selfish, right? Agree or disagree. It's okay. You can disagree with me, right? Right? Give value. I feel like we got to go out here and we got to give value. I mean, great, man. We got a lot of agrees. Hadn't had a disagree yet. Maybe they got off the call. Um, I feel like if they're going to disagree with that, there's probably other things. So in a normal world, our objections and conditions and stuff are kind of simple, you know? They're kind of simple. Like the ones that we hear about the most are, hey, bring a buyer and I'll pay 3%. Oh, we're not ready to list yet. Oh, well, we don't want to pay a commission, right? We hear those all the time. You know, we hear those objections all the time. And, hey, it's those are the common ones. Now, the problem is, and I'll tell you what, my book's full of the common ones. Um, and we've talked about the common ones quite a lot. And Michael's right. Everybody's home and somebody's got to sell a house. I'll tell you guys a secret. I had 3 rental properties go empty. And I'll be honest with you, I was kind of like, oh man, it's a pandemic, right? Nobody's got jobs. Everybody's sitting at home. And one of them is in a place that's a little bit rural. And, typical times I'd put one on Marketplace and hey, maybe I'd get 10 or 15 messages over like the course of 3 or 4 days, but not a whole crazy lot of activity. So one of them went there, and I wasn't really worried about it. I'm not really concerned a lot about my tenants and the whole thing and stuff right now. I'm concerned about them. I'm concerned about their well-being and stuff. But so far everything's good. But anyway, this place went empty. And I was like, man, I wonder if I can fill it back up. And I threw the ad on Facebook Marketplace, and I would get 20 responses to that ad over the course of 2 or 3 days. Dude, I got like 200. This is just this week. Those 3 places, I've rented all. I've taken deposits to rent all 3 of them this weekend. I mean, like I've had an unbelievable response. And there's a lot of people sitting around, and there's a lot of people that need to move. There's a lot of people that need to sell their house. There's a lot of people that want to do something right now, right? So we got to figure out how do we do that, So now there's 2 basic strategies with objections. One is to overcome the objection quickly and revert back to your original script. The other strategy is to get as much information as possible and follow up, right? And with conditions, that's one of the big things that we got to do, right? We got to take and get as much information as possible in this coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever we want to call it, this whole thing going on. What our purpose should be when we talk to these sellers that want to do something, if they don't want to meet us today, our purpose should be getting as much information as we possibly can and putting ourselves in the position to follow up. That should be what it is. How many of you guys have a pre-listing package? Raise your hand if you have one. Raise your hand if you want one. I had somebody ask me some questions about examples of one. Man, I'd love to go through some pre-listing packages, but on this particular call, we don't have a lot of time. Maybe we can do another call. Maybe we can do a GL leads call. Maybe we can do a pre-listing package call. If that's something you guys would like to see, just tell me in the comments. Would you like to see a pre-listing package call? Would you like to see a geo leads call, one that's specifically geared to the situation we're in. Have a little more time than a normal, like a lot of other people. Yeah, thanks, Andy. Andy said yes. Got a couple people saying yes. Thanks, guys. Pre-listing package. Yes, we should probably set one of those up. So yeah, I got a little more time than normal. So yeah, everybody's a little slower during the corona, post corona. Definitely sooner than later. Cool, man. I tell you what, let me look at my schedule. I will send out an email tonight to all of you guys, and we'll try to figure out a time. Pre-listing, Daryl's right. Pre-listing packages work. I mean, without a doubt. So I'm gonna stop sharing this, and we're gonna get into the good stuff in this call. Are you guys ready for that? So how to deal with coronavirus objections. How to deal with coronavirus objections. You guys that are on the call that are not part of my group coaching, if you do want to be part of my group coaching, my big focus right now is to hopefully get you to where when we come out of this, you're going to be in a better position than what you were when we went in, right? My group coaching is $40 a month. If you guys join this month, use the coupon code $1. Screenshot this if you're interested. Go ahead and screenshot it now if you want to. If you would, somebody please screenshot it, share it to real estate agents that really work. That way, everybody's got it. If you guys don't mind doing that, or somebody doesn't mind doing that, I really appreciate it. That way, if whoever doesn't have an ink pen or whatever, can't remember this stuff, can get the information from there. But first month's $1, 40 months after that, it's month to month, cancel anytime. You know what? My goal is to get you guys in the position where your mindset's in a really positive place, and your business is in a place that when we come out of this, you're going to be better than where you went in, right? So go to jasonmorrisgroupcoaching.com, use the coupon code $1. So condition versus objection, we just talked about that. And guys, I'm going to tell you, this is a condition. I believe this is a condition. Would you guys agree with that? I mean, it's something real that's out there. There's a lot of fear surrounding it. It's, whether you believe the media, whether you don't believe the media, whatever it is, whether you're wearing a face mask and a whole jumpsuit thing everywhere you go or not, there's a lot of crazy stuff. There's a lot of uncertainty. And the only way that we're going to be able to overcome this is by their motivation changing and by time. And I'm going to tell you guys, one of the things that is going to be crazy with this is we've got a lot of people missing their first. We got a lot of people missing their first mortgage payment. I tell you what, Brandon, send me a message. That should work. Just $1 spelled out at the checkout, right? Send me a message through Facebook if you can't get it to work, and I'll get it figured out. But it should be working fine. Oh, you got it. Cool, man. So I believe this is a condition. I think that the best way to overcome this, now if you're taking massive action, like the Red X plan that we talked about in the beginning, if you're taking massive action, you're going to find people that want to do something today. They don't care the virus is going on. Hey, they'll take the 10 pictures, email them to you. If you're scared to come to the house, you just got to sell them on your plan, and your pre-listing package is going to do that, right? But this is a condition only to be overcome by changing motivation and time. Hopefully this ends, right? It's a little bit different, but our goal is to set ourselves up for follow-up. I believe that's what we need to do, right? So I wrote down the objections that I've been getting from other agents and stuff, the things that I've seen people say myself, and I heard people say myself. And what we're going to do is we're going to go down through those. And hopefully, like I said, you guys have some framework for overcoming these crazy things, So we want to wait until this is over. Have you guys heard this one yet? Andy said gloves and Matterport. Exactly. Man, make it happen, dude. Make it happen. And hey, Lisa, I appreciate you sharing that, but if you could share that video in real estate agents that really work. but we want to wait till this is over. I understand this is a crazy time. How about if I email you some information about me, my team, and what we do to sell houses? What's your email address? Okay. Now, what this does, they're going to give you their email address. 9 out of 10 times, they're going to give it to you, no questions asked. Okay. What we will do is get that email address, right? We want to, as soon as we can, we want to send over a pre-listing package. Now, what this does when we send over our pre-listing package is, number one, it gives you the opportunity to number one, you can text, right? Text, make sure they got it. Okay, number two, call the next day, right? We call the next day. It's an easy call. Hey, this is Jason Morris from eXp Realty. I sent you over some information yesterday about me and my team and what we do to sell houses. I just wanted to follow up with you, make sure you got it. Oh, fantastic, fantastic. You got it. That's great. That's great. Have you looked down through it yet? Do you have any questions, right? They probably look down through it because they don't have nothing else to do, you know, unless you send them like a 90-page document. Guys, don't do that, right? Have a pre-listing package that's smart. Have a pre-listing package that's smart, but you got the opportunity to follow up the next day. And you know what? One of my great lines is you follow up the next day and you ask them if they got it. You chat with them a few minutes, and they're probably going to ask you some questions about the real estate market, or maybe ask you some about the real estate market. But you say, yeah, you know what? Things are crazy right now. Mortgages are still tightening up. I've been doing some research. For buyers. That's my favorite line. I've been doing some research for buyers. And I tell you what, some of them are looking in your area. Would you like me to send you over what I find? You know, hopefully that first initial call, you got some information off the call, right? Now we're just talking about objection scripts here. So hopefully you got some information like neighborhood, possibly address, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, you know, some basic information about the house so that you could, if needed be, kind of do a ballpark CMA, right? Do a ballpark BPO. So when you follow up the next day, tell them you've been doing some research for some buyers, right? Send them the research. Nobody is going to tell you no. When you say, hey, I've been doing some research that kind of includes your area, would you like me to send you over what I found? They go, oh, yeah, send that over to me. You know, very rarely are they going to say, no. You know, we don't like realtors. Realtors are mean. Don't send that over here. Rarely are they going to tell you that. So you email that over to them. You send them the research. And guess what you do the next day? Guess what step number 4 is? Call them and follow up. Okay, super easy. You call them. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is Jason Morris. Hey, I sent you that email over the other day yesterday, and I just want to give you a quick call. Want to see if you had time to look through it. Man, you know, it's kind of interesting. Like, there's not a lot of inventory right now. My favorite line in this situation is, if we put your house on the market today, it would be the only 4-bedroom available in the neighborhood. If we put your house on the market today, it would be the only 3-bedroom that backs up to the woods. If we put your house on the market today, with you having a new roof and hardwood floors, the upgrades you've done, your house would be nicer than the other ones available in the market, right? If we put your house on the market today, you'd be the only one on a corner lot, right? We need to look down through. We need to actually do some research and figure out what their unique selling proposition is. What would their unique thing be on MLS, right? And Andy's right. We need to tell them what research are we sending. We're sending them research about their neighborhood. Basically, what we're doing is taking the information that we got from the initial call, and we're doing a ballpark CMA to get an idea of what their house is going to sell for, and get an idea of the active competition, right? The house that sold 3 months ago doesn't matter because it's gone and it's not coming back. If it does come back, it's not going to be at the same price, so it doesn't matter. We're talking about what's available now that would be the competition their house would be selling against. A lot of agents don't understand this, guys. I'm going to tell you this. So you guys listen to this. This is like probably a gem that you should take from this call that your broker for some reason doesn't ever tell you. And that piece of information is that when people are looking for things to buy, they're buying based on the competing products, right? If you would like wireless ear pods, then you can go on Amazon, and of course you can look at the Apple earpods, right? Or you can look at the knockoff name brand. But you're probably going to buy, unless you're brand loyal, you're probably going to buy the ones that you think are going to be the best fit for your needs, right? And the price you're wanting to pay. And it might be Apple, right? But let's say you're going to buy, I would use toilet paper, but nobody has toilet paper right now. Let's say you're going to buy bed sheets and you head over to JCPenney. JCPenney doesn't have the bed sheets you want for the price you want to pay, right? So you have just a couple options. Either you can not be cheap and raise your price range. That's number one. Number two is you can wait and hope they go on sale. Number three is you can go to a different store. You go down to Belk's, right? Right? But maybe you don't get the brand you really like, or the brand you're using for. Now, buyers are buying based on competing homes, right? So if they can't get the house they want for the price they want to pay, then they have to do the same thing. Either they have to go back to the lender and ask for more money, which may or may not be possible right now. That's number one. Number two is they can wait and hope one goes on sale. But a lot of us already know when houses typically go on sale, there's usually a problem. There's usually a problem with it. It needs a new roof, has some problems, kind of beat up on the inside. If we see a house come on the market that's significantly less than its competition in the same neighborhood, then there's probably something wrong with it. Let's just be honest. Or they had a really bad agent. But typically, houses on sale, there's a problem. There's a reason why it's on sale, right? So, or number three, they can go to a different neighborhood where their price range is available. Now, but here's the problem. If they go to a different neighborhood, they might not be close to their friends. They might not be close to mom and dad. They might be in a different school district. They might be far away from their church, might be further away from, whatever it is, their work or whatever it is. But if they switch and go to a different area so they can buy in their price range, then there may be something else they're going to give up, right? Or number four, they can keep doing what they've been doing. I mean, that's their options, right? Go up on price, wait, go to a different area. Or, really number two is the same, but keep doing what they're doing, right? Sign another lease. Screw it. We're not going to buy right now. So, but that's the only options that buyers really have. But basically, you do the research, you call and follow up with them about the research, right? Number five, when you're calling, you're on the phone with them, you're following up, say, yeah, I think that we can do this, this, and this. I tell you what, would you guys like me to put together a little bit of information to show you what you'd walk away with if we sold your house? And right now, people don't have a lot to do. Go ahead, offer to do a net sheet, right? I like to do a 3-column one. I like to have a low, medium, and high, right? It gives me a little room and gives me a little flexibility when I'm there. Maybe the house is better than what I think it is, and we go with the high column. Maybe the house is really, really bad, so we go with the low column. But, that's it, right? Offer net sheet. Guess what we do next? We follow up about the net sheet. Number 7, when we're on the phone with them, we want to talk about, I like to talk about financing programs. Financing programs is a great one. Yes, sir. Well, yes, sir. If you sell your house at $160,000 after commissions, blah, 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 we're going to walk away with blank, right? Right now, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of financing programs that your house would actually be available for. Would you guys like, I'm going to call a lender that we work with a lot, see if your house qualifies for USDA. That's a great call and a great line if you do have a house that's in a USDA area. And they go, oh, what's USDA? Well, what USDA is based on the location, but it offers 100% financing to a buyer that sometimes has a little bit less credit score as long as they have a good job. right? Or that's what the line has been in the past. Credit scores are changing a little bit, but that's a great line, right? So we follow up. Okay, number 8, we can follow up about follow up about changes in the market. Hey, Mr. Seller, Jason Morris here. Just want to give you a call. Hey, I know we've been talking about your house over there. Hey, one just came on the market for blank. Right? Right now, though, we do need to have a sense of urgency with everything we do, because with financing tighten up, there's a possibility that prices will not be the same in a month from now or 2 months from now, right? I know that people keep saying, oh, well, jobs are going to come back. Jobs are going to come back. And I like to believe that, right? I'm very, very optimistic. I'm very optimistic about what's happening in the world and everything. However, you know what? Some of these jobs, I have just this feeling that some of the jobs, yeah, they're going to come back, but maybe where they were a $15 an hour job to begin with, now they're going to be a $12 an hour job. You know what I mean? And I got a feeling we're going to see some stuff like that. But hey, guys, it happens, right? So we follow up about something that just came on the market, something that just went off the market, something that just went pending, something that just sold, something that just, hey, it's no longer available. Look for reasons to follow up. That's the key. But let's say that we talk to one of these leads. We talk to one of these leads when we call the Red X plan that we talked about at the beginning. We talk to one of these leads, and they do want to do something, but they give you this objection, right? Hey, no big deal. We send them the email with our pre-listing package. And guys, if you followed up with them 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times between now and 30 days from now, for example, or 20 days from now, right? Do you think they're going to remember you? You followed up with them with useful information, right? They're going to remember you. I mean, you might be their best friend. Who knows, right? So we need to sell, but we don't have people in our house. Hey, no problem. Right now, we have been selling more sight unseen. We have been seeing more sight unseen offers than ever before. How about if I send you over the paperwork and we can get started, right? Guys, I don't know about you guys, but we're seeing them in my market. I think you're seeing them across the country. We're seeing more sight unseen offers than ever before. How about if I send you over the paperwork and we can get started? Easy, right? And they're going to say, well, how do we get started? Okay. And guys, hopefully you've been thinking about how would you take a listing right now if you couldn't go to the house. I'll tell you guys something I did for years. This was when I was younger and dumber and a lot more cockier and stuff like that. And there was a period there that I said, hey, I don't want to meet people in person. I don't want to meet people in person. What I'm going to do, Andy said Zoom call. I agree with you. But I didn't want to meet people in person. So I would only call oceanfront second homeowners. And I'll tell you what, guys, if you're in a market that's second home, man, talk about a great lead source. If you're in Myrtle Beach and you're calling oceanfront condos right now, we can't do vacation rentals in our market. And get this, the owners in our market can't even go stay in their own unit right now. So talk about being motivated, because April starts their first big months of rental income. So once they start their first big months of rental income, or they've lost a month of rental income, some of these people, a cheap unit's lost $5,000, $7,000 this month, right? Yeah, Michael. Hey, absentee owners should be great coming up in South Florida. Yes, exactly. Absentee owners. I mean, man, talk about vacation rentals. Talk about a great lead source right now. They've got a problem. They can't even go look at their unit. I mean, honestly, I can't even go show their unit. Right? So we can wait because the housing market is strong. You're going to hear this. If you're actually making calls, you're going to hear this. A lot of people don't realize that, and this is probably like the negative news. I'm not trying to bring you guys down, but a lot of people don't realize what the difference is between now and 2008. 2008, we kind of like were a snowball going down a hill, right? We kind of gradually went down. and we didn't really have a soft landing. We just kept going down. Where this is different is, man, we just stopped. Yeah, we just stopped, man, and we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, right? We have unemployment like we've never had before, and right now inventory's low. Right now inventory's low, but let's give it 30 days. Okay, April 15th was the day that if you hadn't paid your mortgage, then it was going to be late. And it's estimated, we haven't seen those numbers yet, but it's estimated maybe 35% of people with a mortgage didn't pay. Like 1/3 of the people. Let's say that you have a mortgage and you look to your right and look to your left, one of you three didn't pay this month, right? And it's really crazy. So there is the deferrals, right? But a lot of these deferrals are funky. I've seen 3 or 4 of these contracts where you defer for 3 months, and on the 4th month you owe the past 3 months plus the 4th month, right? If you've been out of work, can they afford that? And then I've seen it where, hey, that deferred amount's going to be prorated over the next 12 months. Well, man, thanks for helping me out. I have heard about some banks talking about putting it on the back of the loan, but there hasn't been many of those banks I've heard talking about putting it on the back of the loan, right? And when we do hear this objection, we do need to have a conversation. Well, yes, it has been. However, there's a lot of people out of work right now. The biggest issue is lending guidelines are changing. Credit scores and requirements have gone up significantly. You can tell them, guys, on Wednesday nights, we've been having mortgage calls and real estate agents that really work. The reason why I've been doing it is because I want you guys to know that those sellers that you guys have, number one, they need to know what's happening. Number two is the buyers that you have, the buyers that you guys have, man, that were really qualified 30 days ago may not be qualified now. But credit requirements have gone up significantly. Some banks are 700 credit score minimums. So, but guys, where we want to end the call is, let me send you over some information about me and my team and what you do to sell houses. What's your email address? Right? I mean, that's the email. So, we want to pull our house off the market right now. I'm sure that you guys are going to be getting this. I'm sure the listings you have, if you haven't already, you're probably going to get this already. I understand there's a lot of crazy stories out there. I tell you what, rather than us pulling it off the market, how about we change the showing instructions? Right, guys? So, and the reason I would do this rather than just withdrawing it and canceling the listing, there are a lot of people sitting at home right now and house shopping right now. I'd hate for us to miss a qualified buyer. Yeah, we can't show that qualified buyer. You don't want that qualified buyer in your house right now. But, in a couple of weeks, a month, when things slow down, they see that house is still on the market, hey, there's a lot of opportunity there. Everybody's online and home, right? Everybody's online and home. But guys, you can take your listings, you can mark the showing instructions to no showings for now. I mean, hey, it's easy to do, right? And who's to say you're going to get buyer leads off of that call? Their house is still going to show up in search engines, right? Coronavirus hadn't shut down Zillow, right? So price reduction scripts, guys, I think that any listing you have that's not getting showings or not getting calls right now, you should have a price reduction conversation. Because I'm going to tell you, I mean, believe me or not, I don't have a crystal ball, but man, I feel like I've been here before. This isn't my first recession. I've had some agents ask me, here the last couple of weeks, they say, hey, why should we listen to you? Why should we listen to you? I said, well, this isn't my first time, and I'm not saying that in any sort of cocky way, but I feel like I know where things are going to go. And I'm not right 100% of the time, but I'm right a lot. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I want to give you a call just to check in. How are you? Oh, yeah, Jason, we're good. Blah, 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 blah. We're just staying home. You're going to have that conversation, right? Now with this, I feel like I already have a crystal ball. call because I've already had so many seller conversations. One of the big topics right now is lending guidelines are tightening. Do you know what that means? They would say, well, no, what's that mean? Well, it means it's going to be harder to get a loan. Some loans are getting actually pulled at the closing table. Mr. Seller, I'm going to tell you, with this happening, I feel like there's going to be a lot more inventory pretty soon. I feel like we need to lower the price so that we can get an offer before inventory starts going up, or before credit requirements continue to go up. Every time credit requirements go up, you might have to remind them, credit requirements go up, there's the pool of buyers shrink. I was thinking we should drop the price to blank. That puts us at, we should drop it to, or we should drop it X number of dollars, right? You suggest how much to drop it. If you're going to make a crazy price drop like $50,000, you better have comparables ready to send over. But most of us in most price ranges, if you're working that $200,000 price range, $300,000 price range, sometimes, man, a $5,000, $10,000 price drop is enormous by itself. Sometimes you're just a little bit over the top, right? Yeah, that's right. That's right. So follow-up script. So, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, with Jason Morris with EXP. We talked a while back about your house for sale. Do you still want to sell it? Easy, right? So great. I know there's a lot of crazy news, but right now inventory is still low as lending continues to tighten. I think this is going to change, though. I'm calling you because based on our last conversation, you wanted blank. I can sell your house right now, but if we wait, things are going to change. Will you be available? Date, time. Have a sense of urgency, right? Don't sound real shy when you say this. You need to, practice, right? I know that like a lot of people listen to this call, a lot of people listen to the recording, a lot of people listening that are going to be listening on YouTube or wherever later on. A lot of you guys aren't used to making calls. When you're making these follow-up calls and you're showing that sense of urgency, be extremely mindful and self-aware of your posture, right? And posture is the belief in what you're doing, even though nobody else may believe on it, regardless of outside interference, right? It's you believe you're the best. You believe your plan works. You believe that lending is going to continue to tighten up because we know it has. It has the last three weeks in a row. And we know that there's probably going to be more inventory in the next 30 days, 45 days. We know that. So when you talk to people, make sure that confidence shines through. You might want to practice it, record it, record yourself practicing it. Guys, this is why role playing is really important. Having a role play and script partner, because we want to sound confident, right? Do you want to go to the doctor that says, if you got to pick between two doctors, do you want to go to the one that goes, well, Jason, I think we might know what to do, and we'll just have to get in there and look around and hopefully we can figure it out? Or do you want to talk to the doctor that's like, yes, I know what to do. I know exactly what to do. I know how to fix you. I know how to make you better. Which one do you want to go to? You want to go to the first one that's just going to look around and hope they can figure it out? Or do you go to the second one that knows that they can fix you, that knows that they can do something for you, right? I want to go to the guy that knows something. I mean, God, just his confidence. Do you want to go to the person that goes, hey, look, I do this all the time? Or do you want to go to the person that says, well, saw this one time before about 3 years ago. Yeah, I want to go to the one that has the plan. Guys, that's why a lot of real estate agents fail, I believe, is because they don't have a plan. They don't have a plan. They show up, they don't have a pre-listing package. They have nothing to give the seller about what they're going to do to sell their home. So why should the seller believe them? Right? So guys, that's the follow-up script there. I tell you what, I got some time here for some questions. I got a few questions already. What questions do you guys have? What things are you dealing with? And what can I help you with? let's see, that you're dealing with right now. So Jerry said we have had a strong seller's market in San Antonio for several years, so our home sellers are spoiled, but inventory is still low. It looks like we'll be getting a bunch of potential buyers back to work on May 1st. Discussion is always about what will happen to home prices when we get back to work. Um, you know what? I think that we are going to have a lot of people go back to work, but I'm going to be honest with you, I think a lot of people aren't going back. And I mean, we're seeing that. I'll tell you what, we're seeing that in South Carolina, where the governor has announced there's going to be a lot of stuff happening before the first of the month with stuff reopening. But the problem is going to be still restaurants and hotels here are going to be closed until right now they're saying May 15th. I mean, so it's going to be quite interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens. You know, I think there's going to be a psychological thing with missing first payments. Personally, I think there's going to be a lot of for sale owners in the next 30 days. A lot of these people don't really have much equity. You know, if they bought in the last year, they probably don't have a lot of equity. Maybe the last 2 years, you know, once you figure in real estate commissions and closing costs to sell again and that sort of stuff, they may not have a lot of equity. So that's going to be kind of interesting. People that bought 3, 4, 5 years ago, man, they've got a ton of equity, probably more than likely. But a lot of that equity is going to go away, you know. So let's see. Virtual showings are now an option with showing time, guys. I think that's going to be interesting too, because I think we're going to see a lot of that. You know, agent showing up with his cell phone, doing a walkthrough. I think we're going to see a lot of that. Let's see, what other questions? What research are you sending? We talked about that. So would you still pursue the for sale owners without a lot of equity? Yes, I would. I would, guys. During the last downturn, I'll tell you what, I done a ton of short sales, and I done short sales for a couple of reasons. Number one was I learned the bank process at that time, and once you knew the bank process, yeah, there was a little bit more paperwork, but if you created a checklist and a system around it, man, it was so easy. It was so easy to do, and I actually done a lot of them. One of the reasons why I done short sales was because I felt like I was the best person to do it. I stayed on top of every short sale program that was out there, and I knew about every moving allowance program and every moving allowance incentive. And man, Chase, I'll tell you, a big one was Chase had a $30,000 cooperative short sale incentive they offered sellers, which was enormous, guys. I'm gonna be honest with you, I sold so many Chase houses. Now it'd be on the phone, you know, you'd bring that up. Hey guys, I know you're trying to sell it. You know, one of my best questions with some of the listings that were just overpriced was, so guys, what are you trying to do? Are you just trying to get out from under it? You just trying to get out from under the house? And you wouldn't believe how many people said, yeah, we just want to get rid of it. You know, we'd like just walk away. And guys, I'll tell you what, and I think we're going to see this too. We're going to see this too, is we're going to see, we've seen this before, and I think we'll see it again, depending on where the market goes. We're going to see banks allowing short sales without the people being technically behind. As long as they have a hardship that's coronavirus, COVID-19 related, I bet we're going to see them. So Wade asked, should we start learning about short sales? I don't know a thing about them. Man, you know what? Like, I mean, you know, if you want to go out and do a little research, you know, for an hour, I don't think it's bad. You know, we're just not quite there yet, you know, or I don't feel like we're quite there yet. Spend a lot of time like trying to figure out the system. You know, I think right now we need to focus that time on what's happening today. You know, even back then, I'll tell you what, there was always sellers with equity. I mean, there's always sellers with equity. So, and that was even at the bottom of the market. And if you guys don't believe me, pull up your MLS and look at all the short sales, or all the sales that were not short sales or foreclosures. A lot of people sold back then. So, Andy said he thinks we're in an election year. The government's going to help the market. We're going to see, I think we'll see government buying mortgages. I think we'll see government putting stuff in the stock markets. We'll see, I think we're going to see some stuff we've probably never seen before too. I mean, we already seen the $2.2 trillion stimulus package. And I'll tell you guys, for you guys, Daryl said the SFR training down the road might be good. CDPE used to be taught by Alex Sharf, and Alex ended that for some reason, which nobody could have foresaw this. And I know Alex has got other stuff going on. And he's probably somebody you guys should follow on Facebook because, quite honestly, he's made a few posts that had a lot of insight. He was the guy that created the certified distressed property expert thing. His name was Alex Sharfin. I haven't reached out to him. I thought about reaching out to him and asking about doing one of these calls with us. I think he'd be an interesting guy for all of us to have a conversation with. But I think we're going to see a lot of stuff. And Michael said that he talked to Alex, and Alex said he didn't see a market for it this time. Yeah, Daryl, he's out of Austin, Texas. Yep, nice guy. I met him, years ago. And years ago, I haven't talked to him really in years except for through Facebook. But and you know what, Michael, he might be right. I mean, just right now, it's just not needed. It's just not something that's it's going to be a big deal. So, so what other questions you guys have? So how do you make geo leads more targeted? Should we target homeowners that bought in 2010 to 2014? With geo leads, I always like to have a purpose in calling, George. And I tell you what, man, I got a lot of thoughts on geo leads. I think that I still like the idea of calling around just listed, just solds, and just pendings. Still like that idea. And I think that's even more powerful now because, technically a lot of markets we can't really do open houses, or we got to do these funky virtual open houses. But you know what, man? You can do a virtual open house and you can call that neighborhood and you can invite them to to your virtual open house. I mean, which is going to be kind of interesting. Geo leads, I feel like, sometimes you got to have a purpose to call. It's probably one of RedX's most versatile programs, is what you can do with it. And so it's really it's a great program. So, so guys, with that being said, Shannon said short sales are coming. People have lost their jobs, and there's too many people that have overpaid for their home. You know what? I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that at all. I think that it will, and we're going to continue to see a lot of stuff like that. So, I think, hey, I'll tell you the other crazy thing is, and this is kind of unexpected. Like I've got some tenants that, it's really kind of interesting. Like, yeah, they lost their job, but honestly, between unemployment and the $600 extra, plus back pay, plus the stimulus, man, they're making more money now than what they made before. So there is some just really crazy unknowns right now like that. It's just not typical. And I mean, we're definitely in uncharted territories. The thing we got to do right now is we got to do the best we can with what we have and the situation we're in until things change and we can do better. And I'm a big believer in that. We just got to do what we got to do. And you're right, man, it's election year. Who knows what's going to happen? Everything's on the table. And if you guys don't believe me, look at other election years. Election years are funky. This one so far, honestly, for a lot of us, it's been better than what I expected. I mean, I was expecting when we had the inverted yield curve about 4 or 5 months ago, I was thinking that was signaling a little bit of a slowdown. I didn't think we were going to have a 2008 kind of slowdown, but I figured it'd be a little speed bump, through until there's more of a clear direction, which we'll have to see. Yeah, man. You know what? They lowered interest rates, but it didn't really affect mortgages. It's kind of interesting. The guys that are on that Wednesday night call, and by the way, we're going to do another Wednesday night mortgage call this week, but um, it's really interesting. They lowered interest rates, but they they did not. Interest rates didn't really go down like to the end consumer. So it was kind of yeah, yeah. They did that when there was a little bit of shift. Yeah, with that whole inverted yield curve thing, there were some fundamentals that were getting a little bit off there. It looked like. I'm not a financial expert. I just I just watch a lot of stuff and read it. And been doing this for like you know 17 years. So so yeah, man, there's a bunch of refis too, which is really kind of crazy. A lot of refis. George said new construction is still open by me. I'm showing a DR Horton home this week that's offering 7% to a buyer's agent. I'll be honest with you, man. The reason they're offering 7% to a buyer's agent is because they got inventory they can't sell. I mean, that's it. Believe me, when you start seeing these national builders starting to offer more commission, that is why they're offering it, because they got inventory they can't sell. Um, I can tell you what I've heard. I can't confirm this for anybody, but I've heard here lately that some of the local builders here have contracts backing out left and right. But I don't know if that's true. It could be just, yeah, I can't confirm that because a lot of that new construction stuff isn't on MLS. And and that probably be a great call. You know what? Yeah, Zillow, Redfin laid off a bunch of people, which is really interesting. Seems like Redfin. This wasn't really the call from our Redfin opinions. Maybe we should get a lot of news articles. That'd be a great regular call to talk about news happening. But Redfin laid off a bunch of people, which was kind of confusing to me. It seems like gosh, right now I feel like they probably should have been looking at how could they take market share, which is kind of scary. We're 3 weeks in. Yeah, they laid off salary people. But we're 3 weeks in, 4 weeks in. I mean, man, Redfin didn't have the reserves to make it 30 days. I thought that was pretty interesting. I mean, we're gonna see a lot of these iBuyer programs and stuff. The ones that haven't went away, they're gonna go away. I mean, I believe that for sure. I believe that for sure. I think we'll see. I think we'll see foreclosures. I keep getting asked when are we going to talk about foreclosures and get into the foreclosure market. And you know what? I keep getting asked when we're going to talk about that in my group coaching, but it's a conversation I really don't want to focus on. I think that if number one, I don't think we'll see a foreclosure boom. I could be wrong, but I don't think we'll see it. I think we learned a lot from the last one. But two, we didn't have a lot of the technology. We didn't have a lot of companies like we did. We didn't have Zillow. We didn't have Troya. Realtor.com wasn't operating like they do now. Um, there was a lot of interesting stuff that we have now that we didn't have then. And I mean, I look for, I've had people tell me I'm wrong, but I look for, if we do have foreclosures kind of spike, I look for banks like Bank of America to go directly to Zillow, this time, and Zillow to start cutting deals with servicing companies and banks. I mean, but yeah, we'll have to see a bank bailout. I agree with you, man. We'll have to see a bank bailout because banks got some incentives, but the servicing companies didn't. And the servicing companies were buying a lot of these loans based on a lot of them were taking loans based on they're buying loans with margin and servicing them. So that'll be kind of interesting because a lot of these servicing companies are still on the hook to basically pay payments on that loan, even if the buyer or the homeowner doesn't pay them. So that'd be real interesting. George just said, "Oh, we should take listings in our whole state." You know what, guys? I'll tell you something really kind of crazy is that you know what, man, now's the time really to really think about how to take listings virtually. And if you can really put together a solid system to do listings virtually, yeah, you could take them all over your state. that's something that's not I mean, not a bad idea. There's a guy that I'm friends with, and we had several conversations. He wanted to create more of a flat fee type of company and a flat fee type of structure. And he was asking me about doing that. Now, it wasn't like $500 when we put your house in MLS. It was a different structure than that. Um, I mean, guys, I'll tell you the truth, man. And part of that was you could take listings all over the state. One of the things, though, that I think is the biggest problem with doing that is, I feel like lots of times people have hired me to sell their house because of my knowledge in the area. And like, I'm super knowledgeable about the 2 counties our MLS covers. Um, but if we go to the other side of the state, to Greenville, South Carolina, dude, I don't know where nothing is in Greenville. I couldn't show up tomorrow and find a McDonald's, without using my Google Maps. But I agree with Andy, man. I think we're gonna see a weeding out. We're gonna see a lot of agents leave. Daryl said competence is one of the code of ethics too. I think if you're going to do it all over your state, I think that you would have to have some sort of local partner. You'd have to have some kind of local partner, and yes, exactly, take a listing referral. Say there's 5 major markets in my state. Maybe you find a referral partner in each of those 5 that you're on the same page with as far as creating a system that's that is an interchangeable type system, and you could probably do that. Do it yourself by yourself, probably be horrible. But you know what? If we see 30% of the realtors go down, we're going to see a lot of realtors leaving the business and not come back. There's so much business in your own market. I've seen a lot of agents get licensed in North Carolina because our market borders the North Carolina line. And you know what? I've got asked a bunch of times, well, have you ever thought about getting licensed in North Carolina? And I said, well, not really, because there's so much business here. There's so much business, in just the 2 counties that my MLS covers, 3 counties my MLS covers. Yeah, every now and then, I get a crazy, hair, and I go, yeah, I should do that. And then I think about it and I go, man, it's just going to spread me out over a bigger area that honestly, there's a lot of business right here. There's a great book about that called Acres of Diamonds. It's a great book you should read if you're thinking about really spreading out far, trying to do it yourself. It's a great book, and it's great principles in that book on that idea called Acres of Diamonds. So guys, I went over a little bit. I really appreciate you guys being on the call with me tonight. I think it's been a great call. I hope you guys got a lot out of it. Let me ask you before we get off, did you guys like this? Yes or no? Was this a good call? Is this something else that you guys, I mentioned a GL leads call. I mentioned a pre-listing package call. I'm going to email out here in just a little bit a link for a pre-listing package. You'll get it tonight. And what we're going to do, and I'm going to set up here in the next couple of days, and we're going to spend an hour. We're going to talk about your pre-listing package. We're going to go down through a couple of them. We're going to go down through a template. I'll give you guys a template away. I'm going to email out the scripts and the PDF and stuff that we have right here, and so you guys will have it. And anyway, guys, you should get it from me tonight. So, guys, if I can help you guys, reach out to me, right? If you want to be part of my group coaching, you have questions, send me an email. Group coaching, if you join right now, the first month's only $1. So, anyway, guys, if you want to know more about objections, I've got the objections book on Amazon.com. How to be an objection master. It's got one of those funky covers like the rest of my books. It's easy to pick out in the list. And guys, I appreciate you guys being on the call. I've really enjoyed doing these here lately, and I hope that you guys have enjoyed them as well. So you guys have a great night, and I'll talk to you soon.